instructional guide about the introduction speech outline. So for this particular assignment, the objective here is just to introduce yourself by writing a well-organized speech outline with the purpose of sharing about a career that you hope to pursue and also to explain why you want to go into this field. So if you're doing a particular degree plan, or if there's always been something you've really wanted to do, then basically that's what you're going to talk about in this speech and say why you want to. Now, if you're one of those people that you're like, I really don't know what I want to do, that's totally fine. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I first started college. So I have a little Futurescape little link there, and that is just a short quiz that just kind of helps you find a career path. It's kind of funny. So at first you're going to be like, what does this even have to do with anything? But it's just kind of figuring out how you like to think. And then it will show you a kind of a mind map of just different types of jobs. And when you find one that interests you, you could always talk about that and why you were interested in it. Okay, so the learning outcomes you're going to learn you're going to learn through this. For this particular part of the introduction speech, writing the outline is going to help you demonstrate research and organizational skills in the development of a full sentence outline with citations. Now, no citations are required for this particular outline. It's mainly just kind of a preview of how you're going to write your informative speech outline that will include citations. So on this one, I'm just kind of setting the foundation. We're learning how to write an outline. And the next one, we already know how to write an outline and will include citations. Okay, then the assignment instructions. For almost all of your projects like this, I have templates for everything. The templates are required for this. I really want you to use the template and just fill it in. That way you can make the outline exactly how I want it structured, and you're not having to play any guesswork with that. You are never turning this outline into an essay. I know that in comp, that's what you normally do. You write an outline and then you write a paper. That is not how we're doing this. With public speaking, you want to just have an outline because it's much easier to find where you're at if you lost your place while speaking than if you had an essay and you were having to find which sentence you were on. So it is going to be written in outline format, but it will also be written in full sentences. So you will need to write it full sentence, but we'll talk about that more in a second. Okay, so like I said, I have a blank template for you, and there's a few writing guidelines that we want to make sure that we follow. Like I said, okay, so you're going to write full sentences. You are not submitting an essay. It should be written in Times New Roman 12-point font. If you use the template that I provided, it will already be in Times New Roman 12-point font. The headings should remain, so do not delete the headings that I've put there. They should remain and they should be bold. The things that you type into the outline, however, should not be bold. It just should be regular text, just Times New Roman 12-point font. Let's see what else. Yes, so I really want you to follow the same formatting. If you're using Google Docs, I feel like there's some students are have a little issue with that. So if at all possible, I would use Word or OneDrive or Word and OneDrive in order to complete this assignment. But you can do it through Google Docs. You might have some issues with the formatting that you'll have to play around with to fix. Okay, so this next page is a detailed, just an explanation of the template outline. So you are not, let me say this. So you do not have to have as much written as what I have here. Your outline for this particular speech, because this speech is only 2 to 3 minutes, is going to be very short. I mean, probably one sentence in most all the sections will suffice. Some of them probably will have a few, like maybe 2 or 3. Some of the main points might have a couple more sentences than that. But for the most part, it can be pretty short. But you do have to have something in each of these sections. You can't skip sections. The reason I give this template explanation is basically I just want you to be able to, when you're writing your template or writing your speech in your template, if you don't know what a section in the template is meant to do, then come look at this document. Basically, an attention getter is exactly what it sounds like. You're trying to get the attention of the audience. So you shouldn't start the speech with, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm going to be talking about blank. That's not what we're supposed to do. Instead, you're supposed to start with something that's going to pique their interest. So something that's going to maybe it's a quote, maybe it's a rhetorical question, maybe it's a beginning of a story. I often like to start mine with stories. But those are the kinds of things that you're looking for, or that I'm going to be looking for, not necessarily hi, how are you? I'm going to talk about blank. That's not what we want. Okay, so then the relate to audience. Relate topic to audience is where you basically bring up your topic. So sometimes most of the time in your attention getter, you won't actually say what you're going to talk about. It might just be something that has to deal with it, especially say you use a quote. It may have something to deal with the topic, or the career that you're going to talk about, but it's not necessarily telling the topic. So here you're going to say exactly what it is that you're going to be talking about, or maybe you give a statistic. It kind of is up to you, but you're basically just making this the topic known, and you're also making it relatable to the audience. So think about like if you watch any type of social media things like Reels or TikTok or YouTube, one of the most important things is of the influencers, I guess you could call them, that you are watching, they're making it relevant to you. Right? They want you to, if it's relevant to you, you're more likely to watch. So an example of this might be like, say for the attention getter, say a quote that I found was, all people who teach have a heart of gold. That's not a real quote, but they say that is a quote that I wanted to use that I found. So I say who the quote was by, but then for the relate topic to audience, I might say something like, have you ever had a teacher who just made a difference in your life? Right. So I made it relatable to them. By asking them a question. That's a great way to make it relatable. I could have given a statistic or something along those lines, but either way, I just have to tell my audience what I'm about to talk about in a slight way and make it relatable to them. Okay, so establish credibility. This is where you're talking about yourself. You have to talk about yourself in the establishment of credibility. And what I mean by that is you are going to say, like, say if I said that, like, how many of you have had a teacher that made a difference in your life? If I said that for the relate topic to audience. Then for established credibility, I might say, well, that is exactly why I decided I wanted to become a teacher, because I've had teachers that made a difference in my life, and I want to do that for others. Okay, so then thesis. The thesis is a very, very clear-cut one-sentence statement that says exactly what you're going to talk about in the order in which you plan to discuss it. So for me, I might say, so today I'm going to talk about why I wanted to become a college instructor, or I'll talk about how to become a college instructor and why I decided that I want to become one. Okay, that would be a thesis. So the first main point and the second main point will always be this for this speech. So the first main point will be about the career that you have chose. Okay, main point one will be about the career. So that might be, what is the career? If you kind of chose something that people don't know about, you might just tell us what it is. Or you might tell us how to become whatever your career is, if it's something that a lot of people might know, right? If you're wanting to be a lawyer, then a lot of people know what that is. So you might just tell the steps in which you have to, like the steps you need to take in order to do that. Okay, so that's going to be your first main point. Then your second main point is going to be, second main point is going to be why. Why do you want to become that? And of course, I understand that money is going to be a part of everybody's. That's why we want jobs, to be able to afford things and all that. But also, I want to know truly the real why. Like, why did you choose this profession that you have chosen to be what you want to do in order to make money? Right. So try not to make money being the why behind what you want to become or what you want to do. Try to make it actually like something that has to do with you, because this is where you're kind of revealing something about yourself. You're telling the audience something about you that might be kind of unique to yourself. Like for me, wanting to become an instructor, a college instructor, is because I truly did have so many really great college instructors, and I loved pouring into my students and making the next generation better. So, that might be my why. That's what I would want to talk about, pouring into the next generation. Okay, so let's look more specifically at this body section. So like I said, there's two main points in this speech. So the first one is your, why, like what it is that you're becoming, how do you become that, whatever you decide. And basically you have to just write in each of these sections. There needs to be at least one sentence in each main point section. When I say that, I mean like the main point, the subpoint, and the subpoint. Each of those need to have something written there. More sentences than one sentence would probably be good, but you don't have to have a ton. This is only a 2 to 3 minute speech. Then transition statements. So there's one above the body too that I kind of missed, and then So let me go back to that. Transition statements should be very, very short and direct. Something like after your thesis, you might say, let's begin with what a lawyer is, or let's begin with how to become a lawyer. All right. And then your second transition statement might be, now that you know how to become a lawyer, let's talk about why I personally want to become a lawyer. And then you would talk about why. So then you do the exact same thing in main point 2, at least a sentence in each the main point in each subpoint section. And you're just going to kind of talk about you're literally just kind of making a paragraph, right? You're just breaking it up into main point, subpoint, subpoint. Then the only optional transition is this one right before the conclusion. Sometimes it's not necessary because the awareness of conclusion kind of acts like a transition statement. So if that's the case, just delete that title heading. So don't just leave it blank, like delete the transition statement heading. Awareness of conclusion is where we know how that you're landing the plane. This is where if you're ever listening to a speech, you can tell this is like, oh, okay, they're coming to the close. All right, so it's different for everyone just depending on your writing and what you put, but this is just letting us know that this is the conclusion. Summary of thoughts, this is where you briefly list the things that you just talked about. So in this speech, I have just shared with you how to become a lawyer and why that's important to why I've decided that's what I want to do with my life. That would be a summary of thoughts. And then creative ending statement, this is where you end. It's kind of like the opposite of your attention getter. It still needs to grab the audience's attention, but instead of obviously leading into more information, it's like a nice little end, like a pretty little bow on top. So you want it to be really obvious that it's the end. I don't want you to end the speech with that's it, that's all, I'm done. It needs to be something clear. Maybe, again, it could be a quote. It can be maybe an end of a story. It could be a rhetorical question. Whatever you want to do there, but it just can't be that's all. So that is the outline, an overview. So if you go to the class, you'll see the blank template. So this one is all written in, but you'll see that the blank template, it looks exactly like this, just blank. And I would like for you to use that for your document. I did not mention the title and career part. The title is just whatever you want to name it. And then the career part is like this, where you list the career that you've chosen. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have questions.